It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS.
Yeah, and it's all how you get paid in your classification for taxes, right? So if you get paid as like an S corp, you could get paid a ton. I can make $30,000 a month as an S corp and still pay less taxes than if I was making 10. Well, figure out what is it, half the rate, 15.
Yeah.
If I was making $16,000 without, so it's all in how it's all structured. And there's a lot of things out there. That's why I always talk about this, and I know Dan hates it when I say this, but you're not smart, not you guys, but anybody watching more than likely is not good at bookkeeping. They're probably going to be lacking at bookkeeping. They're probably lacking at taxes because guess what? Every single year, hundreds of new tax codes come out, hundreds of new loopholes come out, and they're there on purpose so that people can take advantage of them. It's the reason that people go, well, that big company, they don't pay any taxes. It's because they hire teams of accountants. They hire teams of tax people to be able to find all those loopholes. So if you're not good at it, surround yourself with people who are, and you're going to save thousands and thousands of dollars and just be better off. That exactly what you were talking about. Getting paid every single week was better than getting a lump sum because, again, it didn't put me over total earnings for a year. It didn't get me over, trying to think of some other things. There was no capital gains on anything because of the purchase of the vehicles was done on a private. It just, the way that it was structured really well. So
I did tangent, and then I got a question, and then Rob Anderson threw in a question. The guy I was out like scouting hunting land with is a financial advisor who's a buddy of mine, and then became a financial advisor. So he's not my financial advisor per se, but just in talking with him, I want to get my mom actually to be like my admin. I am not organized. I'm very entrepreneurial, and my brain's going every which way. And so, like, just the little things, like knocking out little small administrative tasks, she's so much better at than I am. But her and my dad can't, like, they can get no income, or they like get Obamacare, whatever that means to you. But basically, like, if they claim income, they pay like tens of thousands of dollars in back health insurance bills and stuff like that. So until they're on Medicare, they can't claim income. And immediately he was like, why don't you hire her? They contribute everything into an IRA. They claim, just his brain knows way. And I'm a finance guy. And his brain immediately knew, like, yeah, you can pay her $7,000, you can pay your dad $7,000, and she can do all the work, and then you can pay her $14,000 a year, and they can have no income from it. Now, like, that's just why you need people like that, right? You have to surround yourself with the people that just know, like, and that's a very minute thing, right? And even as a finance person, that's not something I would be like, that's it. I know what he said, like, I can interpret all the things, but knowing that little loophole was not something that my brain would figure out without that guy. So
Can you just repeat that for me? I didn't really understand.
So I want to. Are you serious, or are you just
no?
Damn it!
No, that's exactly it. Like, surround. Okay, so in business, there's two ways you make money. There's spending less, and there's making more. Well, guess what's the really hard one of those two is always making more. Everybody says they're going to make more, but if you wanted to make another $10,000 this month, that's really hard to just like go find $10,000. Otherwise, you would have done it. But you can spend less, which spending less equates to even taxes. Switching over to like an S corp, like, I'm not a tax guy. Don't listen to me. I'm just some dummy who had enough money to buy a microphone. That's literally it. But an S corp changing, what people don't understand is that I paid myself as a sole prop for, 10 years until I got an accountant who was like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, because that's what I do. I don't know. I'm an LLC. They're like, do you know that if you switched over, like, our minimum, so in what I do now is I'm a salesperson, like the minimum I can technically pay myself now is pretty low because there's some bad salesmen out there. But then in disbursements, you're talking about paying half the taxes on a disbursement. So the majority of your money is getting taxed half as much as it ever was. So for 10 years, I overtaxed myself because I didn't file a form. That's literally what it comes down to. And it's because I hate taxes. And taxes, I know how to spell, but it's a 4-letter word for me. I don't like it. And because of it, a lot of people, they just don't look at that side of things. Like, if you go and talk to somebody about the inside of their business, like, you know, you're like, if Rob's watching, like Rob's been in business, he knows things, he knows systems. Does he know the deepest part? Like, how much did you spend last year on paper marketing? I don't know, probably $5,000. No, that's an even number. That means it's wrong, right? It had to have been different. Like, a lot of people don't know the inside of their business. And if you don't know every piece of that business, you can't make changes.
Rob does, because he's got it split out in his books. I know that.
Well, Rob is a bad example. I knew Rob had his poo together, but there's a lot of us who don't, and you just don't think about it until you change something, and you're like, wow. Like, I've overtaxed myself. Legally, I'll never get it back because I was taxed right, but I could have been taxed better. So, I mean, I've probably paid $50,000 in taxes, if not more, over the past few years that I wouldn't have had to do just by doing something right. Little changes, that's one.
Yeah, that's a great example. Our accountant is very proactive, and she told me a few years ago, she's like, why don't you set up a separate LLC and own your vehicles in that and pay yourself a vehicle lease? And then it's like, it's like you pay yourself this much. Basically, she said, take $24,000 a year, turn it into a lease payment. Now that's rental income. There's no there's no FICA, there's no self-employment tax, whatever, no Social Security, excuse me. So it saved me, a significant amount of tax money. What's 15% of 24,000? That's what it saved me.
Yeah. Well, if you think about too, just to break it again, not to take Dan's kind of spotlight here on the money side of things, but if you think of something like a car payment, say you're making we all have trucks, we all have vehicles. If it is in the company name and the companies technically pay it before your S Corp distribution comes out, you're actually distributing yourself less. So now it's an actual purchase, which isn't taxed because it's a deduction. They're actually taking that. And it's just like paying into like a flex spend or something where you're having a pre-tax. You're paying your truck now before it's taxed instead of taxing that money, giving it to you, and then paying your truck out of the taxed money. There's little things like that, I mean, done right. That's why big corporations don't pay taxes, is because they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to pay a company to make sure that they don't. And it's all legal. That's why it's there.
Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one or check out this one and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.